Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Klosmi Commentary. If you love or hate football, we're here for you. Today we just talked about Champions League teams, more or less.
The big teams.
Yeah, the big teams.
Countries.
What it looks like. A bit on the other teams that are added. It's a bit of a shorter episode. We also delved into the Juventus logo. That was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
But and the Newcastle third kit. But
we'll see soon.
Yeah, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So there's about a week and a half to go until the Premier League season starts. Of course, they're not the earliest season. I think the Russian league starts earlier, and then you've got some South American leagues that do.
A few leagues have already started.
Yeah.
The Russian league started, the Polish league started.
Yeah, the Eastern European league seem to start a bit early because I think they have the Russian league definitely has an extended winter break. They had 3 months, I think, in their winter break. And that's not just to give them a break, that's because it's probably unplayable in Russia during those times. Seriously cold temperatures there. But the Premier League is starting in a week and a half on Saturday the 10th, I believe. In our time, I think it's a little different because we're in Australia and everything's upside down. But no, it's actually on Friday in England. So Saturday here, 10th of August, 9th of August in England, Liverpool against Norwich. But before that, there's a curtain raiser, of course, Community Shield. The 20th of... What am I talking about? No, it's.
Why are we saying the dates?
I don't know. I don't know. That's not even the date though. That I don't know where 20 came from. Yeah. All right. Cool. It's coming up though. This Sunday, Manchester City versus Liverpool, and it's hard to tell what's going to happen there because on pre-season form, Liverpool look terrible. They've just got a few players back. And any thoughts on that, Cos, on what to expect from that game?
Well...
Or whether we should care?
Well, I don't really care.
I know you don't care.
But I think City will probably win.
Yeah, no, I think that's almost a given that they're going to win that one.
Just because, they're strengthened in the summer. They've got a few players. Because they can.
Not that they needed to really strengthen, but they did, and they can, and they did. But Liverpool has not picked up anyone other than a few young players. They picked up a young centre-back and a young winger.
Yeah, well, that's not enough.
Well, I think it's like they're building for the next... Klopp, it seems to be that he's happy with the squad that he has, and he's almost saying, all right, let's win some stuff with this team, and let's just think about what's next when this team finishes. So that's what those players seem to be in for. They seem to be the next generation, and he wants to sort of start early, which is not a bad idea, I guess. Save a bit of money on the way transfers are going at the moment. It's ridiculous. We're still seeing 80 million being spent like it was nothing. Bayern Munich apparently sure that they're going to get Leroy Sané from Manchester City, which angered Pep Guardiola, as it should, because you shouldn't be talking about that kind of stuff before it happens. But yeah, so he apologised to Pep Guardiola. So that's it's just something you don't do. Sane, I think it was like a £90 million pound. Hey,
is he going?
Well, I think so, but we won't dabble too much into whether he will or won't. But the reason I brought it up was he has a 90 million release clause or something.
They don't care about release clauses.
Or whatever it is. Like it's that the fact that
he's almost worth the money.
Yeah, well,
I mean, the way transfers are going these days.
Exactly.
You'd almost pay that just to get him across.
Yeah, well, it's almost like the minimum, like the minimum you have to pay is like 50, 60 mil.
Just pay it.
Yeah, and
just weaken City. Just pay it.
It'll weaken City. That's the thing. I don't know if that will weaken them, but
It will.
he was definitely a good option off the bench. But
Oh, he's a very good player.
yeah, he is a good player, and they've still got Mahrez to go off the bench as well. But I think he comes from the other side. It's hard to say, but who really cares? That side is so deep. Just so many,
It's
so much
ridiculous.
depth.
There's too many good players in that team.
Yeah, that team will definitely look. I think they'll be ready for the Community Shield. Liverpool don't look ready yet,
No, they don't.
and
But you never know.
yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. All Manchester City lost the final to Wolves in the whatever the preseason cup they were doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
they beat West Ham in the first round. Wolves smashed Newcastle. It was depressing for even a neutral to watch, to be honest. Speaking of which, I remember what I wanted to talk about. Newcastle released their third kit today.
Did they really?
Oh, no, not today. It was like a few days ago or something like
Is
that.
it better than their signings and transfer dealings?
Well,
'Cause it's pretty easy to do that.
well, it's definitely representative of a better team.
Is it really?
So earlier this season, Newcastle, as I just said now, they were in a preseason game with Wolverhampton Wanderers, and they seem to have liked the team they played against so much that they created their third kit to pretty much resemble the Wolverhampton Wanderers kit, and
did they?
it's
Did they wear it in that match?
no.
they didn't.
So they've just announced this
They just
recently,
announced it, yeah.
and I think they'll probably play a friendly with it on. It's an orange kit basically. Okay, maybe it's not completely Wolves kit, but it looks like a Wolves kit that has come out of like that has been scrunched up and just got full of creases in it. I mean, it's just part of the design, so it's got these stripes on it.
That's really weird.
It is strange to have such a kit, but yeah, Wolves will be represented in more games than just their home games. So I thought that was interesting. I just saw that in, I don't know where it was, some garbage social media thing like Twitter or something. But
No, that's amazing.
so yeah, that is I really don't know where that's come from.
Well,
but
that'll be a top seller in the Newcastle store.
yeah, Newcastle and at the Molineux. The
Wolves fans won't buy it.
Wolves fans. Somebody, I think, commented saying, "Oh, thank goodness." I was a Wolves fan commented, "Thank goodness, I thought we just signed 3 terrible players."
No.
But it was just 3 Newcastle players wearing the Wolves kit, and then he backed up on that because someone said this guy's not actually that bad. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just kidding." But yeah, so Wolverhampton United taking on the new season, trying to live on I don't know if it's supposed to inspire the team or something like that, but orange. They went with orange to go with their black and white kit, and I think their away kit's black as well, or white. It's hard to tell because they've got so many kits these days. But at least they didn't take a book out of Juventus's kit, and that's just something that's still going to haunt me for a while. Juventus. Have Juventus got a third kit, Cos?
They, I'm not sure actually.
Okay. Well, we'll just have a quick look if because you type this in Google, it doesn't look like they do yet. But yeah,
not
so
at the moment.
there's people saying kit leaked, but that could mean anything. But yeah, there's a few things out there. I know there's the white one.
Well, that's the away kit.
Yeah,
the white, all white and red.
Yeah, which is
I don't understand the red.
strange.
And
It's
I
like
just- I don't
it
know.
looks like a Sevilla top, doesn't it?
I don't know.
kind
I don't
of.
know what it means. I just don't know what it means. What does that mean? It's white and red.
Well, actually,
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I think there's a lot of Juventus
I
kit
mean,
decisions.
there is
that-
no red as part of Juventus, and there it is. I don't know what's going on over there. I really don't.
I think fans get a bit touchy when they add a color that isn't necessarily a common thing. I mean, they're
Why do
going
they
to
do
change
it?
it.
Why do it?
Well, they got the white. That makes sense.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Congratulations. You put white in.
All right, because the home kit is generally because Juventus is supposed to be white with black stripes, right? Not black with white stripes. White
Yeah,
with black
white
stripes.
with black stripes.
But
yeah,
their current home kit appears to be more black with,
with no white
it's
stripe.
just- it's
There's
just
no
black
white
and
stripe,
white.
and there's
Yeah.
that pink.
but it's more black on the back. On the back, it's black. So
Yeah, I don't understand the back of it.
yeah,
It's all black with a little white square pocket on on the right.
Oh, it's like the front of the kit, except they've got this square.
I don't
black...
understand what they're doing. Who's designing this stuff?
I don't know.
Did they employ kids?
I think so.
Did they do it? I don't know. I don't know what this is. I get the pink line down the middle, which is representative of their old jerseys.
Okay. So
the pink is a representation. But
is that not pink? Maybe
no, that's not pink.
No, that looks pink
red
to me. That looks pink to me.
That's not.
That looks pink. Definitely looks pink to me. All right,
well, that one looks pink, but the other ones.
I know the other one looks red. The other ones look red too. But could it perhaps be pink? Because that looks pink to me. That looks red, but that looks pink. So it could be actually that it's pink.
The official kit I saw was red,
but it's hard to tell sometimes. Like the
But the shorts were definitely red when I saw it.
Well, that looks pink to me, but it's hard to tell because the going back to the Newcastle kit,
But then that one's red. Look.
Yeah, but I
don't know what's going on.
It's just a dark. Yeah, that one definitely looks red. But going back to the Newcastle kit, the fans were saying that because the kit looks orange, right? But then in some instances it looks like a yellowy gold colour.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same deal. You can't really tell what colour it is. And the Wolves fans were saying, welcome to our thing every season. We don't know what colour the kit's going to be because it's just that kind of weird colour. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the cameras they use. This looks like an actual shirt, and that looks red to me.
That looks pretty red.
So that's going back to the Juve shirt. But look, we're just going to leave it until we see the shirt in action.
I just don't like it.
Refuse to see it in action. Look, there's a lot of bad things about Juve.
I mean, they ditched the stripes. I don't know why. Why are they doing this stuff?
No, well, the away kits always ditch the stripes.
No, the home kit. They ditched
the home kit. No, the home kit is a disaster.
Doing?
Let's not even...
What are they doing?
But, okay. That's what makes it good about being a Liverpool fan. They always keep it simple. They just have a red shirt, red shorts, red socks. It's just all red, and it's pretty right. Manchester United, they have usually they're sensible.
It's really hard to make a black and white stripe kit every season.
They just got sick of the black and white stripes, but no, it is. Let's just say it's an experiment that has gone wrong, and it tends to go wrong often.
It won't go wrong.
No.
People will just keep buying the stuff, turn up to the games. It won't go wrong. There'll be nothing to their bottom line. Yeah. So therefore, they'll keep doing it.
I mean, that could be it too. It could be they're trying to go ridiculous and go for those people that just want to.
I don't even know
buy
what that
terrible
logo.
Shirts.
That logo, I don't even know what that means. There's two J's. Well, what?
All right, we could do a whole episode on this.
There's two J's.
So we're gonna.
There's no two J's in Juventus. There's just one J. Why is there two?
No, I think it's a double A J. But okay, well, it's meant to be the stripes. But we'll move on from the Juventus.
But there's not stripes. Look, there's a J, and then there's another one without the line on the top. Look at them.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. All right, we'll get a close look one time.
Did you have to? Why'd you have to bring it up? Why did you? Look at that. Look. There's one. What is that?
It's one J.
And another one.
All right, let's just do this. All right, and then just like forget about this part of the screen, and then Juventus, old logo. There we go. That's more of the good stuff. How's that? Is that better?
It's much better.
And then we could just go to thing. We'll put that on out. There we go. We got rid of the old logo stuff. Just there we go. There we go.
Yeah. That's the.
It's not the oldest logo, but the most recent logo that we actually acknowledge here at Klosmi Commentary.
Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace, my friend.
Moving on from the Juventus logo and the Wolves kit. Newcastle kit. Yeah. So pre-season's coming to an end. The Champions Trophy is also coming to an end. I think Benfica's basically won that now because...
What, the ICC?
Yeah, the ICC.
That nobody cares about.
Yeah. Except for the Americans and the Chinese and the The people the local fans who get to watch their favourite stars and
yeah, but they just go for the show. They don't actually care if they win.
oh, they don't care who wins.
Yeah.
No.
It's not a Champions League.
But
film.
the winning of the games is they get to see the goals and stuff like that. So it makes
it's
them
for
happy.
fun. It's not really something to take seriously.
A few transfers have come through since we last spoke, but we're not going to go into that because we don't really care that much. Because until the players perform, one thing I was going to say about transfers, this obsession, right? I want to know where you stand on
obsession?
this. Okay, so this is obsession that there's a player that a club wants, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say De Ligt, right? De Ligt is an exception because he's a defender. So defender. There's not many types of centre backs.
He's young.
Like
he's a gun centre back.
A good centre back will generally be a good centre back in any team, right?
Apparently, he wanted to go to Juventus long before Barcelona showed any interest.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Was it just Barca or was
Barca and PSG?
PSG,
but he
was Man United? I swear
he
they
said,
were putting their hat.
I read something when he was a kid. He fell in love with Italian defending.
Ooh.
And he just wanted to be a defender, and Juventus was the only option.
Oh, wow.
So he actually wanted to go.
A bit of fate in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that worked out. Well, it worked out for Juventus then, because I don't think they had...
Now we'll see if he's actually serious. Let's see how long he stays. I expect him there for at least 10 years.
Oh, 10 years would be...
if he fell in love with it, I don't care.
It depends. If he gets pushed out or something.
He won't get pushed out. He's a gun. No one's going to push him out.
Who knows?
They're not going to push him out.
I've seen not better players, but I've seen players at least that good eventually sort of just...
Well, that's if he has a falling out with the manager or something.
Or injuries or something. But
injuries. But barring that,
So, players. Everyone obsesses over, right? So there's a player that club wants, let's just say. Usually, say a winger or something like that, or a striker or something.
The strikers are attacking mids.
Usually, yeah,
they're the ones.
The flair players, everyone just obsesses over. But generally speaking, or it could be central midfielders, and there's like a name that like every club is linked to this player, or a certain player or something like that. I can't remember who it was that made me think of this before, but. But essentially, people seem to think that the player would do exactly the same good to every single club that could possibly. Does it make sense to you? Like he would be useful to every club.
The thinking makes sense. If the player is really good, he's going to be effective no matter what team you put him in. Because I would imagine the idea is that team is going to build around that player.
Well, that's just the thing. The player, I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but if I do remember it later on, I'll bring it up. But it was not a kind of player that you build a team around. It was the kind of player that makes your team better. But
yeah, we'll see that's a lot of clubs make that error. They sign a player they think is going to do good,
like Manchester United.
But then the system that they play in doesn't suit that player, and
if there is a system.
Yeah, well, then he's ineffective.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it.
And I find it baffling how fans can just sort of revel over a player and talk about I can't remember. Like, it would really help if I knew which player I was thinking.
Yeah, it really
of.
would. I was thinking that the whole time. Like, how could you possibly forget?
But even say like a Paul Pogba. We'll use Paul Pogba as an example because he's a very specific type of player, and I don't believe that he would make any team better, as he's proven at Manchester United. Even though he's a
Real Madrid want him apparently.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because they don't really have any central focus points in midfield.
Well, he's more of an attacking mid at his best.
Yeah, well,
that's his position.
But he's one that sort of needs to be sort of like the focus guy, doesn't he? He's sort of like the guy that needs to be. The team does need to be built around him. Like that's to be at his most effective.
I would argue no, because when he was at Juventus, like he was really good. And the team wasn't really built around him. He was just part of
the entire team, but I mean, at least the midfield.
Well, but he was part of the team. He wasn't like the focal point in midfield, doing everything. But he was a significant part of the team.
Well, that's why I'm saying he needs to have, or at least the midfield needs to be reconstructed to suit him because like I say, he doesn't do everything. So if he doesn't do everything, then the other players need to do the things that he doesn't do. Does that make sense?
Well, no player does everything. And I guess that's the thing. Because at the time, Juventus had a midfield doing everything. Like every role was covered.
Yeah.
And it was suited to the whole team. And he was playing really well. But then obviously he goes to United and it didn't happen. He hasn't reached the same heights.
Yeah, he hasn't. But at the same time, he hasn't been terrible.
He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great.
Yeah,
I
think it's been overstated how bad he's apparently been. I don't think he's actually been that bad at all.
He's not that bad.
He's definitely not been that
bad.
But it's funny when people point to assists in a team that doesn't score many goals. It's just, do you understand how assists work? You need to pass and someone needs to score. But moving on from those, we're going to jump into the Champions League this week. We're just going to take a look at the main teams that are sort of in. More importantly, we've got our surprise, or not so surprise because we've known this for a while now, obviously, but Atalanta coming up through Serie A.
Yeah.
After coming third ahead of Inter Milan and pretty far behind Napoli, but ahead of.
I want people to understand how significant that is. Like I know a few seasons ago or something. Atalanta were in the Europa League and they did a job on Everton. They smashed them at home.
Yeah.
However, for them to finish third, considering their budget, that is a ridiculous result.
All right, let's try and give some EPL context to this.
EPL context.
It's not Leicester because Leicester's probably bigger than.
Oh no, Leicester. But look, the Premier League has.
in comparison.
In comparison, but the Leicester, the Premier League have more money in general, like all the clubs. So, in comparison, you'd probably look at. Let's see, what's a mid-table like West Ham coming third?
No, I think West Ham are even bigger than.
No, but they're bigger. But I'm talking in proportion.
Yeah, no, contextually,
in proportion to from them to
I would
the top.
compare them more to a. Who am I thinking? I'm thinking a Bournemouth. Maybe.
Yeah, that'll work.
Bournemouth, because West Ham are much bigger.
Yeah, but Bournemouth will have more money than Atalanta anyway.
Yeah, of course. But
that's
I'm contextually based. I think Bournemouth because West Ham have a huge fan base and big thing behind.
That's true. Yeah,
Bournemouth's from a smaller place.
No, that's a much better comparison.
So and they got the stripes as well. Yeah, except Bournemouth have the red and black stripes. Atalanta have the blue and black stripes. I was saying they've got the stripes. As well.
So you're comparing Atalanta to AC Milan now. That's a
no. That's an insult.
No, because in Italy, red and black and blue and black are very enemies.
Yeah, they are.
So you don't.
I don't think there are any blue and black teams in
the Premier League.
I can't think of any in the English tiers at all. There probably is, but I just haven't seen any sort of.
I think there is one
in the Championship.
I'm sure
or
I've
higher.
seen one in the lower leagues. I'm sure I've seen.
There probably is. Of course there is, but I just they haven't made it. I don't think into the Championship. At least I haven't seen them in the Championship.
There
for
is
a while,
one.
So.
I've seen. I remember anyway. So that's the achievement of Atalanta.
Yeah, Atalanta. So they've done really well there, and in Spain we almost had Alaves coming through, but they didn't even make the Europa League. So
they started well,
and it's just the standard Barcelona, the two Madrids,
and Valencia.
So Valencia haven't been there for a while. So
Valencia were in last season.
Were they in last season?
Oh, yeah.
Was that Sevilla?
Yeah. No. Well, I think it was maybe Sevilla were, but Valencia were in. Yeah.
Well, they couldn't both have been in.
I'm sure it was Valencia.
Unless one of them won the Champions League. I mean, the Europa League, which wouldn't surprise me.
No.
But doesn't matter. Those teams are there. Obviously, England has Liverpool, Chelsea as winners of the continental competitions, Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. England have the unique. Actually, I'm not sure how it works for Chelsea. I don't think they're going to be first tier, if that makes sense. You know, they've got the
but
seats.
I haven't really looked into that.
Because the Champions League has seeding. They've changed it from. It used to previously be based entirely on the association rank. Yep. So Chelsea does go into pot one. it used to be entirely based on the association ranks. So if the team's done well in Europe in the last few seasons, then they will be in pot 1, and then the teams that have done slightly less good, continue to go down, etc., etc., etc. But now pot 1 has the Champions League winners, it has the Europa League winners, and then it has the top 6 leagues.
The winners of them.
Yeah. And I think if the winner of the Champions League or the winner of Europa League happened to be the winner of one of those leagues, then they just go to the next division. So, I think it would be Portugal or something like that. They'd get the next spot. But this season, both competitions were won by teams that did not win their own league, Liverpool and Chelsea. So England have 3 teams in pot 1. So with Tottenham in pot 2, barely in pot 2, but yeah, they're in pot 2. So they've done well actually to get into pot 2. So they've got less of a chance of being in a group of death now. In fact, just looking at all the other teams,
there's 2 more that could be in pot 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's not really any teams here. I think Inter Milan's the only real.
Yeah, they want to avoid Inter just because Conte's there, and
he's
not a
real
bad team.
Tactical thing. So
Inter's probably the team to avoid in that pot.
So just to go through them, those 3 teams from England are Barcelona from Spain, Juventus, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain
and Zenit
St. Petersburg as the pot 1 teams. Pot 2 currently confirmed. We have Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, who are by far ahead of everybody else. Dortmund, Napoli, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Tottenham Hotspur. So that the last 2 spots in pot 2 to be confirmed. Potentially pot 2 is Benfica and Lyon, but that depends on who comes down from the
qualifiers.
Who gets through the qualifying stages.
Yeah.
It's weird because you've got these teams that have got a high coefficient, but they still need to qualify for the Champions League, whereas these teams just get a quick pass. But I mean, a lot of these teams, like Valencia, Leipzig, Lille, Atalanta, they've got low coefficients, and Inter Milan really because they haven't. This is
Atalanta's main voyage in the Champions League.
Yeah, and
they can't even play the games at their home stadium. Yeah, because it's not up to scratch. They got to play. The Milan have let them play their own games
at the San Siro.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Which Milan? Did they get both permissions?
I think both of them.
Yeah, they have to. Well, they have to both sign off because they share that crowd, obviously.
So I think they'll be playing their home games in Milan.
That'll be good for them. I mean, just even if they don't make it out of group stages.
Because it's close. Like Atalanta's just down the road, pretty much.
Right. So that's the logical option. Pots 3 confirmed is Bayer Leverkusen, Red Bull Salzburg, second.
Oh, the Austrian team. Yeah.
Valencia and Inter Milan, and pot 3 or 4, depending on who comes down.
The Train Moscow.
Yeah, Lokomotiv Moscow, Genk or Genk. Genk, I don't know. It's a Belgian team, so
yeah.
I'm not sure which language that takes, if it's French or Dutch, but because they speak Dutch and French.
They do. Yeah.
Galatasaray, RB Leipzig,
and Red Bull
Leipzig. So that could be pot 3 or 4. But pot 4 guaranteed is Atalanta and Lille.
Yeah.
So because they just don't go into the European competitions enough to get the coefficient up.
Yeah, Lille used to be a pretty good team.
Oh yeah, Lille.
So they were very strong.
But
obviously, they haven't been in for a long time.
Yeah, well, the French league has been a bit of a revolving door lately. Lyon's got a bit of traction. They've been in the European competition for a bit now, so they're a shot at pot 2. So credit to them. I think where's Ajax in this list? It's not in this list.
No, Ajax are in the qualifiers.
Yeah, so Ajax still need to qualify.
That's the standing of the Dutch league.
Yeah,
really. That Ajax who made the semis the semi-finals have to qualify.
Yeah, so
it's pretty. Yeah,
it's tough, but I think the Dutch may have worked up their coefficient a little bit because of that performance. But I don't think it's enough to get them
they're behind the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, they're a bit down.
And Switzerland and Austria. Oh, jeez. It's a slippery slope. That'd be Salzburg's doing this. But
Yeah, Salzburg.
yeah, all Salzburg just even Belgium's that high. Wow. Ukraine, I can understand that. But geez, there you go. Portugal and Ukraine 7th and 8th in the rankings, so they'd be getting the spots if not for Liverpool and Chelsea winning the Continental Cups. But even if they'd lost, then Tottenham and Arsenal also did not win the league. So it's crazy how dominant the English league was last season in Europe, and all of that without Manchester United. Well done. All right, so I'm just going into each of at least the top teams. We're expecting Liverpool and City to challenge. They were probably the two best teams in Europe last season, and Man City once again falling to an English side in the quarterfinals. In tense circumstances against Tottenham this time. Actually, falling to the English club that ended up runner-up of the competition at the end of the whole thing. So Manchester City has got a tough gig there, but they're definitely one of the strongest teams. And then, of course, Barcelona will be vying for a spot. Atletico Madrid looking strong in pre-season. Real Madrid looking like garbage, but there's still a decent chance of winning just because they got Zinedine Zidane at the helm. It's just I hate it. It's ridiculous. Valencia probably won't even be in the talking point, and then Juventus obviously making a push with Ronaldo, saying that he wants or no.
Well, he's basically said that Juventus will win the Champions League within the next 2 seasons.
And apparently that was part of getting De Ligt to Juventus, although.
Well,
you said it was true.
Well, he's saying that they've got all the ingredients to win. That they just need to find, get a bit of luck and all that sort of thing. So
that guy
he's probably right.
Definitely backs himself, doesn't he?
Who?
Ronaldo.
He does.
Yeah, and
no, he's probably right. I actually agree with that.
Well, by his thing, he backs his team as well. And but what wasn't clicking last season? What was Juventus missing to get him? Well, obviously, they didn't have the momentum.
Playing style.
Yeah, all right. So
there was just nothing.
Well, it'll be interesting to see.
They were designed to counter the opponent rather than taking the game and controlling the game.
And that was under Allegri.
He couldn't find the right system this year or last season, I should say. And
how long has he been at Juve? He was what?
No, he was good for us.
5 seasons, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
5 or 6, something like that.
Who got to the 2 finals? Was it?
It was Allegri.
Both of them?
Yeah.
He got to both?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought Conte got to at least one of them.
No, he didn't. That was too early. We're still rebuilding at that stage.
Allegri got the first season he came in, he made the final, didn't he?
No.
Second season.
Second
season. So Juventus slowly sort of building towards... and Juventus is very comparable to... I know you're going to hate me saying this, but PSG, in the sense that they've got this... they've got a stranglehold on their league, right? And they're trying to... It's sort of like the domestic title is in the bag before the season starts, although not so much in Serie A as it is in the French league. But it's just... and it's almost like the domestic league is a training ground for the Champions League, if that makes sense.
Well, I think that the domestic league isn't good for clubs like Juventus because a lot of these teams sort of fear them and they don't play, well. They sort of hang back, defend.
Fear factor.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear factors and Juventus can just control the game. And in the Champions League, that doesn't happen. So it's almost like the only time they actually get exposed to that sort of environment is in Champions League matches.
Yeah, it's a bit like Manchester United back in the day under Ferguson. So many teams in the league would just I don't know, they just see them and they'd get a nosebleed or something. I don't know what would happen to them, and they just panic when United came to their ground or they had to go to United's ground. And there was
there's like this aura about them, they got in their heads. Just because they were Man United and they made them ineffective.
But then in the league...
But they played well. Don't get me wrong. They still played well.
Yeah, well,
But a lot of teams-
but even when they didn't play well, that's the thing.
Yeah, a lot of teams would fear them and sort of go
they'd be
into
a
their shell
walkover.
a little bit and not challenge.
And then in the Champions League, it wouldn't quite be so menacing. The effect wasn't there, and
Well,
sometimes,
not as much.
Yeah,
Not
well,
as much,
they usually get into a final as the underdog, and not because they were a bad team, but because the team was usually Barcelona in the final. The time that they won was against Chelsea, and obviously ages ago against Bayern Munich, but
But they were two. That was when Man United were really good.
and
that year. They were really good that year.
struggled to get over the line there. They won the Chelsea game on penalties only because Terry slipped. That was literally it. He if he didn't slip and he put that penalty away, it would have been Chelsea's Champions League under Mourinho, and that would have changed the course of history. And the Bayern final was obviously they were dominated the entire match.
Well, the one in '99, yeah.
And then they scored two sort of, well, let's just call them.
Well, the thing is, Bayern, the players just thought they won.
That was terrible.
That's just ridiculous. You're one goal up, you think, oh, we're going to win, and then they didn't.
Oh, it's okay to think you're going to win, but not to think you've won. That's different.
No, but it's just like, think, oh, we're going to win, so it's like, who cares? That's how it is.
I don't think it was that bad, but I know what you're saying, because we watched this. Was it an interview? Or no?
Yeah,
it's like a
documentary /
documentary
interview.
Of one of the players talking about that final, and yeah, what did he say? It was yeah.
Well, like they did. They controlled the game. They dominated the game. They should have won.
They couldn't see United coming back into the game. That was
that's what
more
he
or less
basically.
what
It was something like that. They couldn't see him coming back in, but they were only
Despite
one goal
the fact
ahead.
they were 1-0 up only. So
Yeah. Anyway, that's...
yeah, well, that's history. But yeah, now Juventus is because that's one of the ingredients really to going back into how to win a Champions League is you need to have that competition from at least one team in your league.
Well, hopefully Inter can at least provide something.
Yeah,
Napoli should be there again, but yeah, we need more teams to come up. AC Milan's the disappointment, unfortunately.
AC Milan's going to be. Well, they're not even on this list, and nor should they be. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a great season for them either. But
it's a real shame.
They lost another. Cutrone went to
Yeah,
Wolves.
I know. He went to
Wolverhampton.
Wolves.
Yeah, Newcastle. But
I just can't believe it.
I mean, looking back over the last few seasons of Champions League winners, right? Real Madrid, that was a freakish. Those three in a row that they did. But they've always got Barcelona to play against, right? That's always pushing them. Whereas Real Madrid is not pushing Barcelona in the league. It's funny.
Well, they don't look like they're going to push anybody this season.
No. But
the way they're going,
no,
that place looks like it's going to implode any moment.
Yeah, it's and they bought so many players too, and I don't understand how that club functions, but it does somehow, and they'll get bailed out somehow. And it's
Bale will be there. Don't you worry.
No, I was saying they'll get bailed out by
Bob.
Yeah,
by Bale.
No, not by Bale.
Oh.
Zinedine Zidane's doing his best to get rid of Bale, but. And then at the same time keeping and then get rid of him. I don't know what's going on there. But, they're always pushing each other. Bayern Munich recently, when they won the Champions League, they had Dortmund pushing them the whole way
they did,
in the league. And the last few seasons, they had that extra bit of...
you need someone pushing you. You need a challenge.
And
otherwise, you just get complacent and then you got to suddenly switch on for a game in the Champions League. And it doesn't happen. It's very hard.
And as soon as they bought, in the season after that, they bought not half their team. They bought like two or three of their key players. Completely crippled the team.
Yeah.
And then there was no competition in the league. And since then, they've been pretty poor, to be honest, in the Champions League. They haven't really.
Bayern.
Yeah, Bayern.
Yeah, well,
like they're not.
That team that was really good is very different now.
Yeah.
They're sort of in a rebuilding phase.
Yeah, well, they're not
not rebuilding, but they're kind of just in a transition. That's the word, transition.
Well, they're not really candidates now for the
Oh,
to
they're still.
win the
Oh,
UCL.
they're still dangerous.
Yeah,
That's
of
right.
course they're dangerous, but they're definitely not any of like in the.
Well, I wouldn't
even put them in
ahead
the
of
top 5. You'd have all right.
the top 5
Let's see. We've got. I would put Juventus above Bayern to win the Champions League.
at this stage. Yes, I would.
For the last 3 seasons. I'd
But
say.
I would have Liverpool,
Yeah, Liverpool,
Barca.
Barca, Manchester City,
Yeah.
even Real Madrid. I put above.
Well, I don't know.
Because just look, the only reason I say Real Madrid is because the second 2 times that they won it in that 3 in a row, they should not have come anywhere near it.
Yeah,
and they still won.
They still. I know. There's something about it.
So, if not
they're
for
not
that, I would put Atletico ahead of Bayern Munich. To be honest,
No, I wouldn't. No.
at the moment,
I would have Bayern ahead.
I mean, Atletico were last season. They were not.
No, yeah.
That
But why
great.
would they be better this
But this season, they
Really?
they're starting to look interesting. Oh look,
I would still have
they
Bayern
signed a
ahead.
few players. But,
Oh.
but okay. So we've got Liverpool, City, Barcelona, Juventus. So that's 4 teams at the moment.
What do you reckon about Tottenham?
PSG. I put them in front of
No.
Bayern.
No. Get rid of them.
I know they'll never win, but they'll go deeper.
No, they could.
Actually, no,
That's the sad part. They could actually win.
nah, they can't win. They can't win because they're just too. No,
I just can't.
There's too much
stand it.
turmoil
I
going
can't
on there.
stand PSG. That's one team. It's just
well, the earlier they get knocked out, the better.
make
But
me sick.
what were you saying about? You were saying about somebody else just in Tottenham.
Yeah. Well, where would you have them? They made the final,
Yeah, look,
and they've made some good signings.
they made 1 signing. That's it.
That's still good. Still a good signing.
Okay, Tottenham is going to be. I'd say.
I don't mind Tottenham as a club.
I like Tottenham.
I admire how they've gotten to where they are.
Yeah, same here. I used to not like Tottenham, but now I
have to respect that.
Respect
Yeah.
for that. Don't forget Ajax still to come into the play, but
Yeah, but Ajax are weak in this
yeah,
season.
Ajax aren't going to go anywhere this season,
Which is sad, really. But
yeah. But
that was a good team.
their spirit has been spread into many teams.
They lost
so
De Ligt, De Jong, someone else, I think.
someone else, yeah.
So
I don't think Tottenham are really going to challenge the Champions League this season because last season they barely got through the group stages. They did well to get through the group stages in the end, but they probably didn't. If they didn't get through, then it would have been Inter Milan taking their spot, and Inter Milan really coughed up their chance. Inter Milan stuffed up their chance to go through.
they did, yeah.
So
Anyway.
if they took their chance, Tottenham would not have seen any of those finals. There's some cracking finals in there, but Tottenham will now be looked at by teams. People will take them seriously, and if they get out of the groups, they should get out of the group stage because they're in second pot now. But beyond that, it'll be difficult for them because look, whoever they get paired up against, because they obviously can't get paired up against the English teams. They're going to have either Barcelona, Juventus, Bayern, PSG, or Zenit St. Petersburg. And that's the only team that I would back them to go ahead of in the group stages. The rest of the teams, I can't see them going ahead of them. So they'd probably finish second, which means they'll probably go up against one of those teams in the round of 16, and that's difficult. I can't remember who they played in the round of 16 this time, but I feel like it was a bit easier than that. And sure, they went further than we expected, and they could do it again, but I just don't see it. I mean, pot 2 teams, they could probably finish ahead of any of those teams, but the pot 1 teams, they're just not strong enough to go, with the conviction that you need to sort of... you need a bit of confidence to get out of those things. And consistency, and I think they're going to be spread too thin. And but I could be proven wrong. I could be proven very wrong. Something's caught your interest there, Cos?
No.
Because
I was just looking at the qualifiers, actually.
The qualifiers. Well, then something did catch your interest there.
No, not really.
No. Oh, you were looking for something to catch your interest.
Yeah.
Well, other than Celtic, one of our favourites, the qualifiers are... I don't know what's next, and there's still way too many qualifiers to go. The group stages don't start until September or something like that. So there's a bit of time.
Yeah.
The September or even later than that, but generally speaking, it's look, there's still a bit to go, but are you expecting another 4 English teams getting to the quarterfinals again?
I hope not. But they probably will.
Well, it depends on.
They really should.
Well, Tottenham's sort of the biggest question mark because they're in pot 2. The other 3 teams are in pot 1, so it'll make it a little bit easier for them. It'll make sure they don't have to. But it depends because the group stage is going to be a bit weird, and sometimes a team that is good for whatever reason just starts the season a bit sloppy, ends up coming second, and then you've got a sort of clash of death in the round of 16, a bit like Liverpool did last season. They came second in their group. They barely got through with Napoli almost knocking them out. They ended up going through on what was it, goals for, or I don't know. It was the smallest of margins, and the same with Tottenham.
Yeah, well, Napoli they had the hardest group.
Yeah,
in that was PSG, and they should have got through. The bloody Di Maria scored in the last minute.
Yeah, PSG should have been knocked out there, but they ended up top in the group. There was a real touch and go stuff in that one. But so it could be possible. Once again, depends on how Chelsea goes too, because they could be a disaster under Lampard. Who knows what he can bring to the table? When they bring these caretaker managers in, you just don't know what's going to happen. And
you don't.
Real Madrid under Zidane, pot 2. Who knows what could happen to them? Because
Zidane's a proven Champions League winner.
He is, but
the team is very different now.
But he took over while they were still in the Champions League last season, and it didn't do them any good.
Well, last season.
Yeah, last season.
No, he was. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he did. He came back.
Yeah, he came back, and they were still in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I believe. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they were still in it. So, they have weaknesses. Well, they've got a lot of weaknesses. They have a lot of weaknesses, but they signed a lot of players. By the time those stages come around, who knows what's going to happen? He knows how to peak. I think that's what it is. A bit like Richmond.
Well, yeah, they've peaked.
He knows when they need to turn it on, because they struggled through the group stages when he won it as well. But he knew how to get through. So by the time they get to the final stages, the players that he signed may have been bedded in, and they could do better. So Napoli were not expecting to do too much, because they're always so focused on the league, even though they never seem to be close to winning that either.
They could get out of the group. Depends on what.
Oh yeah, if they don't cop another terrible.
It always happens to them. Like almost every season, they cop the hardest group.
Yeah, well, Liverpool was the 3rd seed, weren't they? I think in that matchup last season.
Oh, right.
So they were quite unlucky. I mean, Napoli's ranking is 80,000. Liverpool's is 91 now, but that's because they finished. Sorry, 91.000. That's not a.
Yeah, it's not 80,000.
That's not a comma. That's a decimal point. The 3 zeros put me off. But Liverpool's on 91 now. Napoli's on 80. I think winning the Champions League got them a decent chunk of that. And I think last season they were behind Napoli in the points. So, they were pot 3 and Napoli was pot 2, and they got put in a group with PSG and Liverpool, and they almost got through, and they should have got through. They didn't get through. That's kind of the story of Italian teams last season in the Champions League, other than Juventus. And even then, it's just too much. Anyway, enough and all that. Anything you want to add to any of this, Cos, or are you happy to have a short one this week?
I'm happy to have a short one, bro.
Short one this
There's
week.
not much to say.
Yeah, well, really
like
we say, the qualifying stage is still going on now. There's not a lot of teams actually still in the running.
Any interesting names in the qualifier?
Okay, there's Celtic, obviously.
There's Ajax, Celtic.
Yeah, well,
we hope that-
Ajax hasn't gone into the... So the teams that haven't actually started qualifying yet, so Ajax... So there's a third qualifying round and then a playoff round. So
I don't know what that playoff round is.
It's a playoff
It's
round.
literally just after the third qualifying round.
Yes, so
to get in.
So
Oh, well.
the teams that are left over will now play against these teams and themselves. Right? These teams being Ajax, PAOK,
Yep.
Krasnodar from Russia, Porto, who need to qualify as well, 2 times European champions, Dynamo Kiev, Club Brugge, Istanbul. Oh wow, Başakşehir. Oh, a new
Turkish team
coming into the fray, and Lask, an Austrian team who finished second in their league.
The Austrian, yeah.
Once those teams go through, and those teams will be up against the
I'm sure. We're in the second qualifying round now.
Yeah. So the
which has just been done, I think.
Yeah. So the second qualifying round. I mean, we've got the matchups here. CFR Cluj against Celtic. So some of the qualifying teams will play against each other. But it appears that some of the games have not been decided yet. They're playing them today.
Yeah.
So once those things are done, but there's another third qualifying round. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're split up into Champions Path and League Path. Don't know why they've made that distinction, but they have. And so there's 10 games being played now. In the playoff round, there'll be another... How many teams was added? There'll be another 2 teams added in the playoff round.
Young Boys and Slavia Prague.
And
Young Boys are from Switzerland.
And I don't even know how it's going to work, because 10 teams, when you halve that gives you 5 teams. So that doesn't make sense to me. That if there's there's 10 games, which means 10 teams will be left, which means there'll be 12 teams in the next round, which means 6 games.
Yes.
And then 6 more teams will be added to the pots, of which, as we said before, Ajax is amongst them, as were some of those other teams, Olympiacos, Porto, some of the high names, Basel, and I think they're the big ones. And Celtic isn't really a big one, but okay, they're a big team. They're a big team. Okay, let's not offend. Let's not make people angry. Celtic, they're a big team.
Pretty good.
I wouldn't go that far, but Celtic is amongst them. So
very prestigious. Celtic.
Still plenty to go to there. A lot of titles, domestic titles.
Yeah.
And 1 Champions League trophy to their name.
Yeah, that's right.
Or European Cup. European Cups. It wasn't Champions League back then.
Got to respect Celtic.
Got to respect them. They hold the torch for Scotland.
No, I'm not kidding there. You got to...
Rangers have more titles. But...
yeah, but Rangers...
But they haven't got the European title. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, we'll leave it at that for today. Next week, we're going to go into the last week before the Premier League season starts. We're going to talk about the 2 contenders of last season, which we expect to be contenders for this season, Manchester City and Liverpool. But that's it for today, and we'll talk to you next week then.
We will.
Talk to you then.